Thanks for helping out today. I've scheduled this session to run for about 30 minutes, and before we start I'll just explain the setup and what we're going to do today. So I'm responsible for conducting some research for the EasyJet website, and we're trying to identify issues that could be fixed to make the website easier to use, and to do that we have to interview people like yourself. And so I'll just explain the setup. So I'll just be asking you a few questions about your experience booking flights online, and I'll just be observing and taking notes. And we've got a camera and a microphone to record what we're talking about today. And we'll record the session for note-taking purposes, but the footage won't be used by anyone outside of the team of people.
Okay.
Do you have any questions before we begin about anything?
No.
Cool. All right, so what is it you do for work?
I work in a boarding school. I look after 14 to 18-year-olds that stay over at the school.
Okay, cool. And whereabouts is it that you live?
Sabden.
Sabden, where's that?
Clitheroe.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And how do you normally get on the internet? Do you access it at home, at work, or on your phone?
Yeah, I have a laptop at home, and then I have my phone, obviously.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have internet at home? You have broadband at home?
Yeah, I have fibre because I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's really hard to get
Sabden
signals.
is a
So
bit
I have
like
like
remote, innit?
yeah. So I have fibre.
Yeah, cool. And do you use apps on your phone like every day? Is there some stuff that you use? Like I use Google Maps a lot, you know, for getting around and stuff. Is there stuff that you use every day?
Obviously social media, mainly like Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp. I have some like health apps on there as well, and like
Yeah.
horoscopes, and I have like a sleep app for
Horoscopes.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you need some
Some reassurance.
Yeah, sometimes.
And then sleep ones that tell you like how well you've slept.
How well you've slept.
How deep you were sleeping.
Yeah, because I'm not such a great sleeper, so it
Yeah.
kind of helps sometimes.
So they're the sort of things that you use that help you most days, yeah?
Yeah, just kind of like health things mainly, and
Yeah.
ways to like contact people. Yeah.
Yeah, social stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And what sort of travelling do you normally do? Do you normally do it for work or like just for holidays?
Just
leisure?
holidays and breaks away and things.
And how often would you normally go away?
Quite a few times a year. I mean, in the summer, obviously I was away with working in a school. You know, I get 8 weeks off in the summer, and then I
Yeah.
get quite a lot of half terms and things. So I always try and plan things to do. So going away, and obviously in the summer I was away in Italy for 3 weeks, going to various Venice and Rome and Milan and
Yeah, I really
Sicily.
wanted to go. It looked nice.
Yeah.
It looked awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
And so where would you normally fly to? Do you normally have a place that you go, or is it different every time? Or
No, it's just different every time, wherever I feel like going.
yeah,
Wherever the wind takes me.
That's good, isn't it?
Obviously it's mainly Europe because it gets quite expensive flying further afield, and you
and
need
is that
to go
because
for
of
longer.
the cost, or is it because of the distance, or
Bit of both, really. Obviously it's more expensive flying outside of Europe, but
Yeah.
also unless you book it in advance. Like when I went to New York in November,
yeah,
I booked it like about six or 7 months in advance, and it was actually doable.
it makes a
but
big difference. Yeah,
Yeah, but again, because I can't have time off during the term time, and I had to go for this long weekend, I kind of found that I flew all the way to New York, and I was only there for 4 days, and then I'm back. So that's another element.
it's quite a long way to go in it. If you're
Yeah.
not staying for a long time, I feel like if you go such a long way, you've got to kind of stay over that side of the world for a bit, you know, like I'm doing.
Exactly.
So how would you normally book the flights? How did you book them flights to go there?
Well, I always look on Skyscanner because it compares
Yeah.
all the different ones, which is good. And then because I can be quite flexible with dates, and I like to get quite cheap flights, because I think, why pay more money for?
Well, yeah,
You
if
know,
you've
the
got the
same-
freedom to be quite
Yeah.
flexible, sometimes you can get it a lot cheaper. I think it depends what days you go as well and stuff, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I kind of look at all the different prices, and then I also kind of take into consideration times, because I don't like flying out at like 3 a.m, because who's going to get me to the? It's selfish to kind of book a flight, even though you can get cheaper ones. I just find it. I'd rather be able to get a little bit more, but not excessively more.
Okay, yeah.
So I consider that as well.
Yeah.
And then apart from Skyscanner, I also have Ryanair and EasyJet. And so if I see like a flight, I'll go up onto their app and just check it. Because sometimes with Skyscanner, I found that, or I read an article that if you're consistently looking at a flight,
Goes
it
up,
kind
doesn't it?
so
I always do it in incognito mode, on your browser, so that it doesn't track you and it doesn't go.
I don't know if you can do that on the app though, but I always
no, I don't think you can.
I go and check on the different apps then if I've found a good price.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do compare.
Yeah, alright,
Yeah.
cool. Have you ever used Kayak?
Yeah, once, but I don't really use that one often,
No,
to be
it's mainly
honest with you.
Skyscanner. I think everybody uses most.
Yeah, that's the one I use.
And you use Skyscanner just because it compares all of them, right? You'd rather compare them all in one place than going to different places, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And describe the last time that you booked a flight online. What was the scenario and where were you travelling to? It was for Italy, right?
Yeah, well, we booked quite a few flights for Italy, and
Yeah.
I obviously booked the majority of them, and then Gemma just transferred money to me.
Yeah.
So I booked all the flights for that. But probably the one I booked on my own, the very last flight I booked was Sicily, and that's quite an expensive place to fly back from, because we obviously went to Milan, started in Milan, travelled about, so then the Sicily flight was just one way back to the UK,
Right, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's quite an expensive one because I think it's closer to Africa than Europe, really. Sicily. So I didn't want to leave it last minute because in the summer the prices are sky high. So I ended up actually booking one, but it included a stopover. I had to stop over in Amsterdam and do a change, and then because that was just the cheapest one.
Yeah. So how much longer did that take you than it would have done if you just got a direct one?
Probably about 3 more hours.
3 more hours, yeah.
Not anything like major, but it was just significantly cheaper. And I thought, well, I'll just do that.
Yeah. And how far in advance did you book it? That one?
About 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. So that's when you'd already planned like way in advance where you're going to go and how you're going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And when you booked those flights, what was the most important factor? Was it the right dates or the right time, or was it just purely price based, or how did you work it out?
Price based, really, because I could be quite flexible, so
Yeah.
I knew kind of roughly when I needed to come home. But yeah,
Because you stayed longer than Gemma, right?
I did,
You
yeah.
came back like 2 weeks after?
Yeah.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it was about 10 or 11 days after her.
Yeah.
So for me, I could be flexible, but then I just didn't want to pay excessive amounts because the flights coming back were really expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why Gemma left a little bit earlier than me, because she had to come back earlier anyway, but then it was based on the prices.
Yeah. All right. So price is a big factor, isn't it, when you book flights?
Yeah.
I think it's price and then time for a lot of people, or time and then price for people.
And you know,
Two
the whole trick came about actually because I was basically on Skyscanner one day thinking, and then I saw these flights to Milan for like £15, and I was like texted Gemma, and then it kind of escalated from there.
It always does with Gemma. That's why we always go.
But we hadn't booked like a return one, just the
Yeah.
one way. And then we were like, oh, well, let's do this whilst we're over there, and it all just kind of went from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally how it goes with Gemma. Yeah, that's when we went to Spain. We just decided on the day we went out for dinner one day. We were like, should we just go to Spain for my birthday? It was like, sure, yeah. And then like the night of the same day, we'd already booked it, so it was done. So, so how did you come to choose your? Oh, well, you pretty much answered that already. How did you come to choose your final destination and dates? It was based on price and time when you can come, yeah?
Yeah.
And I presume you compare prices for that as well, yeah?
Yeah, quite a lot actually. And you can like store them on Skyscanner, like favourite it, and it gives you like price alerts.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I got like an email when
yeah.
it was rising or dropping, so I was kind of like monitoring a little bit and looking on like Ryanair and EasyJet, because they're the only 2 apps I really have.
So how long did you wait before you made a decision that was what you were going to book?
Probably about 4 weeks, because I was a bit like, because it was quite high, and I was hoping they might come down a little bit, but I thought they're just rising, and because it's a popular place, especially in August. Yeah. So I thought,
I think it used to be that if you left flights till like really last minute, you could get some really good deals, and I don't think it works like that anymore. It seems to be like the further in advance you do it, the cheaper it is. So most people would rather do it like way ahead of time, and to know that they already get the best price, you know. So again, I guess you use Skyscanner and everything, right?
Yeah.
Same websites, yeah. And it was 2 of you that were travelling, yeah, and then you just coming back, yeah.
Yeah, then just me on my own. Yeah.
So when you booked the flights for you and Gemma, did you book them all yourself, and then Gemma transferred you the money? Yeah. Yeah, it's generally what I do when I go. It's just easier, isn't it? If one person books it, you have all the receipts and stuff in one place, and all the emails, and it's like one person's responsibility. And then the other one just has to transfer the money, so that's all right.
Yeah.
So what communications took place between you and Gemma? What did you discuss prior to going away? What were the important factors? Was it that she wanted to go certain places, you wanted to go certain places, or was it more that you just kind of use Skyscanner or whatever app to decide based on price where you would go? or was it specifically that you wanted to go to those places?
No, well, I obviously found the really cheap flights to Milan, so I was like, oh, let's go.
Just started off, yeah.
Yeah, and then we were talking, and I said, whilst we're over there, I'd love to go to Venice. And then she was like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, let's you know, go across. She wanted to go to Florence too, but we couldn't fit everything in. And then she wanted to go to Rome, and I wasn't really like that. I was like, oh, okay then. So we went to Rome as well. So because I wanted Venice, she wanted Rome, and
That's
then
just one each. It's
and
fair.
then I also wanted to go back to Sicily because I was there the year before, so I wanted to go back there anyway. And then she was like, oh, okay then, because you can get from Rome to Sicily really cheap because it's
My
just across the water. Well, like Rome's literally like right near the bottom, and then Sicily's here, so you can even get a ferry over.
Oh, okay.
But I looked at ferry prices, but flights were cheaper and quicker, so.
Yeah, they normally are, the boats, yeah.
I know. Well, I thought it'd be quite exciting about, but for the time and everything else, I just thought, no, let's just
well,
get
if it's going to save you time, money,
Yeah.
So, how did you share the flight options and the prices and the dates with Gemma before you made the booking?
Well, obviously, it's hard to get hold of Gemma when she's work. Well, it's not hard. You can always contact her on the phone, but mainly just WhatsApp. I would like send screenshots of like pictures and the prices, and then she'd reply and be like, "Yeah, book it" or whatever. So then I'd just book it all, like screenshot it so it's saved, email her the details so she can print it all off. She has access to a printer.
So it was mainly via WhatsApp and Facebook, So you just sent things back and forwards and kind of changed and agreed and altered things until it was done,
Mainly just WhatsApp, and then obviously like I forwarded the emails to her because she prints it all.
Yeah. Is there a reason why you would do it like that rather than over the phone, or like, is it just so that you've actually
just with work,
got it?
I think, because I'd be bored at work, you know, because obviously working with 14 to 18 year olds, they're all out and about, so then I'd be sat there looking on my phone, so I'd just send her a screenshot and she'd be at work, so she'd pick it up. And I think sometimes it's quicker to say things on the phone call, but it's just finding that time, especially when you're at work.
Well, if it doesn't line up with both of you and you're both working, and also I think if you send something via a message, you've always got something to refer back to. You know, if you forget a detail of something, you can always look it up. Whereas over the phone, you have to call up again and be like, what was that, or what date was this, you know, so.
That's it. And then obviously when she came round for a cup of tea, or when we went and did something, we could talk about it then, but predominantly it was all done on the phone.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's all my questions, I think. Thanks for that, That was awesome, thanks. How do I pause this? Is that combination right? Maybe that way.